And you know, if you study the history of that word jazz, it was not a flattering word. As a matter of fact, it was a very racist word, you know, in reference to black people at that time. If you get a chance, go online and it's the Ladies' Home Journal, 1921. It's a two-part article called Jazz Must Go. It was called The Scourge of America. And it wasn't just the opinion of one person, okay? Because this article was put together by at least 4 or 5 people, and they were, how can I say it, representative examples of a certain prevalent attitude among a lot of people at that time. Paul Whiteman is quoted in that article and in other articles saying, we must make a lady out of jazz. In other words, jazz was, you know, this Negro thing, this colored thing or black thing or whatever is not healthy. But think about that. We must make a lady out of jazz. Well, what was a lady in 1920? What did it mean to be a lady in 1920? It was basically a woman who knew her place, a woman who wasn't going to cause any trouble by trying to be more assertive in society than she was, who was basically supposed to be subservient to men. She wasn't supposed to talk back. She wasn't supposed to think about smoking, and she definitely wasn't supposed to think about having the right to vote. So when you look at what a lady is from that context, then you see what they had in mind in terms of this music. That meant that we got to tame this. We got to figure out what to do in order to make it not so dominant, so vibrant, you know, or as other words they used back then, so Bantu-like. In a way, Paul Whiteman has succeeded. In a way, you know, and I don't want to get into any names, although I'm totally qualified to. But I just see certain folks out there now whose let's just say their musical presentations are not as pulsating. I'll be polite. And when you see that type of, at least when I see that type of thing so common in today's musical environment, and I see, that's what Paul Whiteman was talking about. Okay, he should be very pleased. But you know the beauty of it, Jeff? There's always going to be musicians out here who are really taking care of business, who are putting the music first. They're trying to get to the next level. There's always going to be musicians like that. Like Lonnie Plaxico. I just want to give a shout out to Lonnie Plaxico. And I'm very glad that he's out there on the scene because he takes a lot of risk. You got to be a hell of a musician to play his music. It's not like looking in the real book.
I'll have to check him out. I don't know him.
Oh my goodness, he's from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first saw Lonnie Plaxico in 1982, you know who he was with? Art Blakey. Oh. So that was the band that had Donald Harrison and Terrence Blanchard and Johnny O'Neill from Detroit on piano. Yeah, Lonnie Plaxico. Another group that I'm happy to see out there is Soul Live, because Soul Live emphasizes the dance aspect of this music. And keep in mind, everybody, this music comes from dance. It comes from dance, dance halls, dance band situations. You know, it wasn't a cerebral music where people just sat down and listened and said, "Oh, isn't that so exquisite?" You know, it came from actual people on the dance floor, dance halls, where you had your large orchestras and even some small combos at that time, accompanying people on the dance floor. And I can tell a musician that has dance band experience. By the way, for a good example, there's a Blue Note record that was issued in 1959 by trumpeter Dizzy Reese. Great record with Hank Mobley. You know, Dizzy's the leader. I think it's called Star Bright. So it was the first record that he did when he came to the United States from England, because he's of Jamaican ancestry. Dizzy Reese on trumpet, Hank Mobley, tenor sax, Wynton Kelly, my goodness, on piano, Paul Chambers on bass, and Art Taylor. I want you to get that record and just feel the pulsation. All those guys had dance band experience, and it comes through in the music.
Okay, one last thing is, maybe if we're talking about dance bands, maybe we could focus on what your footwork is like a little bit on a song. If not a song, but just some playing, if you don't mind.
Well, yeah, you know what? Technically, the whole kit, the drum set to me is an orchestra. The drum set is by being several components. Now, think about it. You can add or subtract as many components as you want. I look at a drum set like I look at the game of Lego, and all kids know what Lego is. As a matter of fact, I use that example when I'm in my sessions with kids. With Lego, you can take Lego is a game of components, and even when you get through building a structure, you can look at that structure and say, I want to change this, or you can take this away or take that away, and then you can add something else. The drum set is the same way. This particular kit, of course, is a, as far as the drums is concerned, is a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-piece kick. Snare drum, 2 tom-toms, floor tom, and a bass drum. All right, I have 2 ride cymbals here, and 2 hi-hat cymbals, of course, that are attached to a pedal. That's how that's played, you know, or that's how that functions. And then you, with what you do with your hands, you multiply or just enhance the footwork aspect of it.